World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
It's just so dangerous. You're risking not only your life, but also my life.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Good evening and welcome back to World Pro Racing. My name's Alex Goldschmidt and it's the world's first here on World Pro Racing. Welcome to the first ever kart race on the R Factor 2 platform here on World Pro Racing, and we are at a circuit that I know very, very well. It is simply known as the home of champions, Karting Genk in Belgium. Established back in 1983, it celebrates its 40th anniversary in just a couple of years' time. In 2005, this track was completely restyled in order to get the certified FIA homologation, and now is a tour de force amongst the international karting circuit, and it is a circuit I've commentated at myself personally, hence the banner in the background. It has hosted the FIA World Karting Championships and also the European rounds as well, and it's a regular host for the Rotax Max Euro Trophy, the B&L Karting Series, which actually kickstarts its 2021 season tomorrow morning. But we thought, well, we might as well switch things up here on World Pro Racing and give you some karting and some exciting teasing news to tell you all that there is in the works a karting championship. So amidst everything that we do with, like, say, the HyperX Open Series, which starts very soon on the 2nd of April at Monza, where a HyperX Alloy Elite 2 keyboard will be up for grabs for the winner overall from the sprint and the feature races. A Cloud Alpha S headset that is also featured in the advertising just before, that's up for grabs for second, and then a Pulsefire mouse as well for third place. But this particular circuit, 1,360 meters, 12 turns in all, and we're going to have a 25 lap race here at this particular circuit. Of course, the ongoing work of World Pro Racing can't be done alone, and we'd like to thank once again our sponsors as always: Gaming Malta, Melita, who are powering the stream, Thrustmaster, GT Omega Racing, HyperX, where we're all gamers, and of course AMD. A warm welcome to everyone watching on the World Pro Racing feeds on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and also on Twitch. We'd also like to welcome once again our viewers from TVM Sport in Malta, Motorsport.tv, and eSports Television. Now, this particular race is going to be rather interesting. We've got a 15-minute free practice session, a 15-minute qualifying session, and then a 25-lap race. A bit unusual in terms of what we normally have with all the sports car action and the single-seater action that you've been accustomed to over the past few years or so. But we're switching things up. You know, it's a casual race tonight, and we're looking forward to seeing what transpires. There's some fantastic corners. There's a back straightaway known as the Eurobolan as well between turns 6 and 7, where literally karts that I've seen in competition have decided to literally leave passenger traffic parallel to their position look like they're standing still. So without further ado, let's head to the home of champions, Karting Genk, and go trackside and see what's happening. And as you can see, some of the drivers going through. There's the number 18 going through the right-hand sweeper at turn 8. You can see that they're using a lot. Now, one of the biggest things about karting is going to be the case of the fact that it's minimal steering inputs. We've got 8 drivers. 11 had registered. Well, one of the regulars. Well, for those familiar with World Pro Racing, Nathan Mifsud has abandoned Justin Mifsud this evening and decided to go for a little bit of a jolly. Well, in that case, he decided to get behind the wheel, and he nearly tried to Danny Rick, and he's just mounted the curbs on the inside of turn 2. I'm sorry, Nathan, you've just been embarrassed live on World Pro Racing. Cliff van der Ven, one of the multiple drivers here at the moment. Times running in the 51.5s. Van der Ven is currently leading. And then you've got Nathan Mifsud just over 6.5 tenths behind. Then you've also got Sven Deichmann in the number 56. Max Carrion, who is with us in the USF 2000 series that took place at Adria this past Wednesday. The next round of that will be Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So you can join myself and Chris Buxton at 8:30 p.m. Central European time next Wednesday, which will be the 24th of March. Then we've got in the 04 Steve DeSalis, rounding out the top 5, covered by 2.8 seconds. Pedro Gomez from VMR Rookie Monsters is in 6th place. Vishal Patel from PC Boys Esports. Now, I know that he's got a couple of friends in there, the likes of Dan Ginchard, who know this track very, very well. So hopefully he's been getting some tips. But it's one thing to drive it in real life, and then it's another thing completely different here on a sim as Patel goes through turn 7. Takes a lot of curbing coming out of the exit through into the right-hand sweeper at 8. Now into the left-hand 180-degree hairpin at turn 9. Swings it wide, then cuts back in into the right-hand sweeper at 10. And you can see some very distinctly brazen overtakes as I've seen in the 170 plus races that I've commentated at this track live on air. Through into turn 12. Oh, that was a bit of a moment there for Vishal Patel. Went a bit too hard towards the curbs. Into turn 1, and then heavy on the brakes through into turn 2. We've got the runoff area on the left-hand side. Through the left at 3, and this is a bit like turn 7 at Istanbul Park, but for karting, but it's the other way around. Into the right at 6, that brings you onto the Europolan, and then they can fully bury the throttle. 2 wheels on the grass for Patel there. Oh my goodness me. Through into 7, now into the right at 8. Caught the curbs on the right hand side, and that unsettled the back of the car. Bit too much curb coming out of 8 into the left at 9. Bit of an opposite drift there on the right hand side, but he manages to get it back together. Down the short blast into the right hander at turn 10. Into the left at 11. Don't run too wide out of here, otherwise you might end up on the curbs, and that can throw things adrift a little bit. Into the right hand through turn 12, and it's a looping a looper there, and Patel is now P7, but Cliff van der Ven is really steamrolling his way through, but has a bit of a moment there. He tries to go around the outside of Steve DeSalis through turn 10. That was never going to work in a month of Sundays. But you can just see how much these drivers are pushing. Van der Ven crosses the line, but that was an outlap, so goes full-on Tokyo drift through the exit of 1 and into 2. Keeps it nice and planted. Using the racing line. Nice, good composure there from Cliff van der Ven. Through into the right-hander at 6, down the Europolan, where you instantly pick up speed. And at some points in the circuit, you're going to be pushing in excess of around 110 kilometres an hour. That's nearly 70 miles an hour here in the UK. Well, that's the national speed limit on a dual carriageway or a motorway. So good composure. Deutschmann now improves in terms of time. Stays P3. DeSalis, as Van der Ven just pulls into the pit lane. So a couple of drivers in there. Perini, I think, is in there as well. That is Rafael Perini, I think, has just been able to join the server. So we should have a really good qualifying session, but also the race is what's going to be even more interesting. Nathan Mifsud comes across the line. Still is about 7.5 tenths behind Cliff van der Vin. Someone went exiting stage right there. Oh my goodness, coming out of turn 3. It was like someone didn't even hit the apex at all. But Nathan Mifsud now coming down the Europalan in the number 18. GT Omega RPM Esports driver. Definitely representing the colours there. Decides to pull off to the outside of turn 8. Pedro Gomez in the number 5 comes across the line. Has about 6/10 to find on Nathan Mifsud as he makes his way through the left-hander at 2. Now into 4. Well, he's just gone through 5. Into the right at 6 through onto the Europalan. Takes a lot of curve, and there's a bit of a rumble strip on the exit of the curve there as well. And yeah, that was close to the barrier for Pedro Gomez. Oh my goodness, but he's wrestling with that kart. It's like he's grabbed the ball with both horns and just gone along for the ride. A lot of curve taken out of turn 9. Into the right at 10. Oh, 2 wheels, Night Rider styley there. But kept it planted, kept the throttle well and truly buried. So kudos to Pedro Gomez there. Through into turn 12. 6.5 minutes of the session still remain. Pedro Gomez sets a personal best. Stays P3, but has got the gap down to under 2/10 between himself and Nathan Mifsud. Cliff van der Vin. I think he's just building speed in the number 2. So he's down in both first and second sectors. Across the line, 51.6 or 51.7 there. So through into 2, into the left at 3. Now I've seen many a great battle here at the Home of Champions, and to have 8 karts here tonight. This is a casual race, but as I said earlier, we do have a kart championship in the works. So once further details happens about that, you can find out all about that on worldproracing.com. That's our official website. There's still plenty of opportunities to race with us, so head to worldproracing.com. You can follow us on all our relevant social medias. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at worldproracing. We also run PC and PS4 events. We run platforms such r Factor 2, which is the one we're using tonight, Assetto Corsa Competizione, Gran Turismo Sport, amongst others. So Cliff van der Vin, nearly 2/10 up on his previous lap, but showing good consistency. So it's not qualifying yet, but that will be a 15-minute barnstorming session, as again he's just using a bit of drifting there going through turn 6 to just literally straight line the kart coming onto the Europalan. Max Carrion in the number 3. He's now coming through into turn 12. One of the good things about Karting Genk is, you know, you've got a great amount of technical parts on the circuit, especially going through here. So you've really got to judge your braking point correctly as you go through turn 1. And when they go side by side into turn 1, anything can happen. But you've got to be hard on the brakes going into turn 2. Then 3, 4 and 5, it's literally keeping the racing line. As now someone decided to go a bit hairily into turn 6 there onto the Europalan. I saw a massive amount of dust being kicked up there. But Carrion goes through turn 8. And there's Cliff van der Vin. Just under a 10th down on his best first sector. And he's hustling the number 5 of Pedro Gomez. And even in karting, you still can get a slipstream. Oh, wide there from Gomez coming out of turn 9. And Cliff van der Vin just goes, yep, thank you very much. Through into left at 11, and then into the right at 12. And to be completely honest, was that Nathan Mifsud going onto the grass coming out of the pit lane? That's not how you rejoin Nathan, I'm sorry. Or he wasn't in the pit lane. He's just put his personal best in sector 3. And it's just put in a 52.4, so which is about 4/10 off of his best lap time here in this session, which we've got just under 3.5 minutes left to go. So one of the a couple of the championships that take place here, you have the Rotax Max, the BMC Belgium Max Challenge, the BNL Karting Series. The Rotax Max Euro Trophy, which is set to have its first of 4 rounds taking place at this very circuit in a real-life setting in just 3 weeks' time. Also the Deutsche Kartmeisterschaft, the DKM, the FIA European Championships, and also the I think quite a few other Champions of the Future, amongst other championships as well. But my goodness me, Pedro Gomez has just put in an absolute blinder. I think Cliff van der Ven doesn't know what's hit him, whether it's been a saucepan or a tyre, because Pedro Gomez has just put in a 49.822. So Gomez really trying to do his level best, and he's gone up by 0.3 in sector 1, but he's aborted that lap. Oh, that was very messy coming through turn 8. Literally banzaied the apex, hit the curbing, put the dust up from the grass, and there's Nathan Mifsud. He was nearly 0.8 up. He went purple in sector 1, and then he just absolutely lost a huge amount of time, 4.1 seconds on sector 2. Sven Deichmann in the 56, now coming through the into the Europalan with another kart just behind. Into the braking zone, and Deichmann is over 3.5 tenths up in sector 1, 0.365 to be precise. Through into the left-hander at turn 9. He should cross the timing beam shortly. And yeah, that was a second down, I believe. So Deichmann fast in the first sector. Well, that was more like 4 seconds in sector 2. So Deichmann will come across the line. That'll be a great lap, but actually has set the fastest first and third sectors of anybody in this session. We've got just over a minute to go, and then very soon we will be heading to timed qualifying, a 25 lap race. We'll see what happens as Gomez on an out lap, hugging the curbing on the outside of turn 8, well, the exit of it. And Silva Pirmets not having the greatest outing there is the Estonian, so we've got 9 karts out there at the moment. And oh, Steve DeSalis goes for a spin. That was definitely not in sympathy, I trust. But then decides to mow the grass with the front Nassau and also kick up a bit of dust with those tyres as well. Pedro Gomez going through turn 2, now into the left at 3, 20 seconds on the clock in the session. So this will be his final lap ahead of qualification. Out of turn 6. Oh, that was a moment and a half. Oh, that was definitely a defib moment there. 0.6, nearly 6.5 tenths up in sector 1. So he's not slowing down at all. Checkered flag out for the session. Just want to see how quick Pedro Gomez is going to be, because he's just lost a bag full of time in sector 2. So that's going to be round about sort of a 52, 53 second lap time. Well, he's going to complete the lap because the checker's out. Gomez fastest in this free practice session and across the line, 52.624, and fastest third sector out of anybody as well. So he did exactly what Sven Deichmann did. So Gomez takes the session and decides to exit off onto the grass. Cliff van der Ven takes P2 in that session ahead of Nathan Mifsud, Sven Deichmann, Max Carrion, Vishal Patel in 6th, Rafael Perini, Steve DeSalis and Silva Permets rounding out the 9 strong in that session. So realistically, if that's just a sign of things to come for qualifying, I'm rather excited. Because karting has been part of my it's a big part of my commentary career. I've commentated over 300 plus races. I've been at some fantastic circuits, Adria Karting Raceway, Kristianstad, the Asumring in Sweden, Wackersdorf in Germany, amongst others. But we do need to give you all a little bit of a refresher of what is coming up. So I do have my list at hand. The 23rd of March, next Tuesday, we have the second running of the official Night Masterclass, and this time it's going to head to Suzuka. The second round of the USF 2000 Series Championship with myself and Chris Buxton will take place at Indianapolis Motor Speedway the day after, on the 24th. And then we head to the mountain, Mount Panorama, Bathurst, on next Friday, which will be the 26th. The 2 hours of Mount Panorama, that's going to be an absolute blinder. The Italian job, we have that on the 30th of March. And 2 tracks, Monza and Imola. And there is a stipulation. It is Ferrari versus Lamborghini, but each driver that competes in both of the half-hour races, if you use both cars in each race, you are promptly disqualified from the event. So you have to use Ferrari for one, Lamborghini for another. And it's going to be between those that make the real good choice in terms of driving style, but also the circuits. Who's going to come out on top on the Italian job? The third round, the halfway point of the USF 2000 series, heads to the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve a Portimao, which rounds off March for us on the 31st. Then we have the first round of the HyperX Open Series. A real big thank you to them for putting the prizes up. The first place on each event, which will head all the way through to December, once a month, the HyperX Alloy Elite 2 keyboard for first, a Cloud Alpha S headset for third. You've also got a Pulsefire Haste mouse on for third place. But it's time to get qualifying here underway at the home of champions, Karting Genk. And this is where things are going to be rather interesting for all and sundry, myself included here in commentary. So the drivers will have to put in an initial banker lap. They'll have 15 minutes to put in their best efforts, and it will be down to whoever puts their best right foot forward. And already, Cliff van der Ven has already gone storming in with a 51.286, but don't count out this driver, Pedro Gomez, who is up in total. Well, he's actually done a personal best in both first and second sectors. Comes out of T12 and now heads across the line. 51.9. Drops the gap down to just under 7/10. Sven Deutschmann in the 56 is currently third at the moment. Just under 2.1 seconds. Then Steve DeSellis now puts his time in. 2.6 seconds behind Cliff van der Ven. So I think the pole position is going to be decided between Cliff van der Ven and Pedro Gomez. As I think I saw the number 2 on the stricken to the right-hand side. So Karian, Perini, Pirmets, Nathan Mifsud yet to venture out onto the 1,360 metre circuit. Sven Deutschmann down by 6/10 in the first sector, coming through the left-hander at turn 9. And now Mifsud decides to join the party, the karting party that is. So Sven Deutschmann up by just 3.7 tenths of a second in sector 2. Goes across the line. 53.08. That brings the gap between him and Cliff van der Ven to 1.8 seconds exactly. Here's Rafael Perini in the number 12. And it's currently 3 seconds off of Cliff van der Ven. But as we say in karting, times are for show, points are to go. Well, we're not getting any points this evening because this is a casual race, as Perini has a bit of a mare going through turn 10 and then off onto the curbs going through T11. But he's up in sector 2 by nearly 7/10, a personal best for him. Across the line, 55.5. Nathan Mifsud on an outlap, so he's now going to steamroll his way into turns 1 and 2, heavily onto the brakes. The back end trying to step out towards the left-hand side through turn 2. Into turn 3. Oh, nigh on a moment there for Nathan Mifsud, and I think that's an aborted hot lap right there and then. But it just depends on how much he composes himself. Just look at the amounts of steering correction. He's done a personal best. So obviously this is his first actual lap. He's going through turn 8. And this is where he's going to try and do his level best. As a personal best, obviously, yeah, first lap out for Nathan. Now someone's had a massive moment. That was Silver Pyramids running in the same livery and also the same race number. So Vishal Patel yet to move out of the pits or join the server for qualifying. We've still got 9.5 minutes left to go, but Nathan Mifsud with that time puts himself P4. Cliff van der Ven still in first at the moment, comes through turn 6 onto the Europlan. Looks like Perini's just up ahead going through into T7. So van der Ven down by just under 1/10.5 through sector 1. Manhandling the kart going through the entrance and exit of turn 8. Into the left at turn 9. Perini goes a little bit wide just towards the outside of the hairpin itself. And van der Ven just decides, well, that was not I did not want to be compromised. There's Pedro Gomez now out on a hot lap. Van der Ven still leading in qualifying. 8 minutes and 45 seconds still to go. Qualifying in karting, with especially championships such as the BNL Karting Series and the Rotax Max Euro Trophy, will have a third of that time as Pedro Gomez goes absolutely banzaiing over the curbs, bounces up and down. And what you've got to understand is that karting is very different to GT racing or single-seaters because you've got no real suspension. It's literally your backside, or the seat of your pants, is literally millimetres off the ground. And that's when you've got to try and do your, that kind of thing. It's very difficult. It's very difficult indeed. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So Silver Pirmats has improved in both first and second sectors. Well, I mean the gap between him and Cliff van der Ven is not really respective. Silver Pirmats has been a regular here on World Pro Racing. 54-1, puts him P7 ahead of Max Carrion. So all 8 drivers covered by just under 3 seconds, with half of the session still to go. Nathan Mifsud up by just under a tenth in Sector 1, a personal best for the Maltese driver. Now going through turn 8, someone's kicked up the dust just up ahead of him. Oh, and has started to go, had a massive moment, and that was Steve Desilis going through, I think that was an exit stage right, or there is a particular phrase that we use in racing, and it is mentioned quite a lot. It's basically, the PC way of saying it is you need a new change of underwear. That's all I'm saying on that one. Nathan Mifsud now having a lot of tyre squealing and also smoke firing from the back tyres on that kart going through turn 2. He now wrestles with it going through turn 6 and down onto the straight at Europalan. Oh, a massive tank slapper there for Nathan Mifsud, and he tries to hang on through the exit of turn 7, through into turn 8. He's absolutely flooring it. He's up, he's purple in sector 1. It's Nathan Mifsud, and he's lost 6/10 in the second sector. But Mifsud is closing in. He's got past Pedro Gomez in qualifying, and the gap now is 2/10. He's going sideways through turn 12. Oh my goodness me, this is what we want right here. 52-1. He lost a lot of time in sectors 2 and 3. Seems like Q in the YouTube chat is saying, come on Nathan, go on for it. Well, let's see if Nathan Mifsud has more in the tank. There's definitely fire in the belly for the number 18. So he's up. He's done a personal best in sector 1. Through turn 8. Oh, nice and clean that time. That was well and truly planted in the number 18. Out of the exit through turn 9. I still lost time in sector 2. Oh, no, that's not what you wanted through turn 10. Oh, Nathan Mifsud was absolutely wrestling the beast, and the beast just, the Bronco just bucks him off. It's back. But Cliff van der Ven has now punched the envelope. And he's gone sub 51. And he's up by just over half a tenth in sector 1, down by over 2.5 in sector 2, and decides to call it a day on that lap. Less than 5 minutes remaining. Nathan Mifsud now goes on an outlap. Can the number 18 do his level best? He's got to find just over 5/10 to try and put the wind up the sails of Cliff van der Ven. Pedro Gomez did a 49.8 in free practice. He's the dark horse, I think, but Nathan Mifsud has definitely come firing with all barrels. With both barrels if it was a sawn-off shotgun. Up by half a tenth is Pedro Gomez through turn 7. Now into the right-hander at 8. A bit bumpy through T7. No sliding through turn 8 into turn 9. Can he keep it nice and tight coming out of the corner? He does. Now on the run down to the right-hander, he's lost he's down by half a tenth. Night Rider sliding again from Pedro Gomez going through the exit of turn 10 and into the left at 11. through turn 12. Now Pedro Gomez really needs to hug the apex. Let the car drift out wide to the left. Goes 52 flat in that particular lap time. Nathan Mifsud now through turn 6. A little bit sideways. A lot of correction there from the number 18. Down by 0.3 in sector 1. Can he make up some time and keep it neat and tidy through turn 8? I think he's just aborted that lap, to be completely honest with you. Hence the very, very dramatic silence from yours truly. Sven Deutschmann in the 56. 1.1 seconds down in sector 1. It's currently P4 at the moment. 1.5 seconds off of Cliff van der Veen. Through into turn 10. Into the left at 11. So down by 0.8 in sector 2. Across the line. 54.0. No improvement for the number 56. Perini in the number 12 is P6 at the moment. Nathan Mifsud still trying to eke out as much time as possible in that number 18. But no matter how hard he pushes, I think he's overdriving that car. Yeah, you can tell by the way he just drifted it and the tyre smoke just came up from the back end of the kart through turn 9 into turn 10. Perini, I think, is just deciding, you know what, I'm going to leave it where I am at the moment. Max Carrion sets a personal best in sector 2, but is still... that was not an improvement for the number 3. He's 2.6 seconds down from Cliff van der Veen. Max Carrion. But a good time here from Sven Deutschmann. Up in both sectors 1 and 2. Personal best from the number 56. Now heads across the line. 53.063. Lost 1.3 seconds in sector 2. Well, was 1.3 seconds down. Nathan Mifsud, oh, he's going for it now. He's giving it full guns blazing. He's gone rather bandsize, Nathan Mifsud, up by 62 thousandths. And I think the way that the kart was not responding to his touch through turn 9, I think that basically said to me, yeah, he's lost 0.4 easily there. He's lost over 0.4 of a second to Cliff van der Veen, but can he gain a little bit back? 51.7, not enough. So his best lap time so far is a 51.5. But he's got enough chance for another couple of laps, as we've got less than, or just over 60 seconds of the session remaining. 52.4 from Sven Deutschmann. Not too bad actually, quite consistent with his best lap time so far. But if he hadn't lost that time in the final sector, I think he would have been up, but still be in 4th position as he goes absolutely sideways to the right-hand side through turn 5 before trying to kiss the apex on the inside of turn 6. Just under 40 seconds on the clock to go as someone's had a moment going through turn 8. Oh, now who was that? Was that Nathan Mifsud? No, that was Silver Pyramids, who's still in P5. So these drivers have been pushing. Silver Pyramids, I mean, that's not a bad shout. But if he gets across the line within the next 15 seconds or 15 seconds, he's going to get the run for a final flying lap. Now, can he close the gap? Possibly on Sven Deutschmann. It could be a tall order. As now that Silver Pyramids heads into turn 2. 0 on the clock. Check it out for qualifying. Cliff van der Veen is leading the way. Still, Nathan Mifsud has come close to getting to him as Silver Pyramids now goes down the Europalaan. Through into turn 7. There's Sven Deutschmann. He's up by over a 10.5 in sector 1. Oh, could this be a good run for the number 56? He's got to get it right. He's lost 7/10. He's down by 7/10 in sector 2. That is not going to help him at all. He's going to try and wrestle with the kart and cross the line and take the checkered. There's a few drivers, Carrion, Mifsud, van der Veen. They've all called it a day. Perini did early. Sven Deutschmann now will call time and go off the grass at turn 1. Well, that can normally happen when you end up straight lining in the wet weather conditions. So, Cliff van der Veen takes pole position by over half a second. ahead of Nathan Mifsud in the number 18. Pedro Gomez in the 05 will start on the inside of row 2, ahead of Sven Deichmann in the 56. Silver Pirmets in the 18 will be on the inside of row number 3. Alongside him will be the number 3 of Max Carrion on position 6, with Raffaele Perini in the 12 and Steve Desalis rounding out the 8 strong competitors. No Vishal Patel in that session, unfortunately. So, I want to hear from you in the YouTube chat. Who do you think is going to win tonight? Who is going to be the first ever karting casual race winner here at Karting Genk, the home of champions, tonight on World Pro Racing? And hopefully, I hope that some of my buddies over in Belgium that are competing, some of the drivers that know me, who have been blowing up my Instagram like nobody's business this evening. Thank you very much to the likes of Kai Rielats and amongst others. But yeah, a karting championship, we are definitely planning that, and you might hear a couple of familiar voices here on World Pro Racing. Again, a big thank you to everyone watching on TVM Sports in Malta, Motorsport.tv, Esports Television, and of course a big thank you to all our partners, Gaming Malta, Melita, Thrustmaster, GT Omega Racing, HyperX, and AMD. So there's about 3.5 minutes of warm-up left for the drivers. Obviously, we want to get them into the swing of things, get themselves loosened up and ready. Well, we know when the red lights go out at Karting Genk, anything can happen. I've seen melees going through between turns 3 and turns 4. I've seen multiple karts go straight on at turn 1 in the wet weather conditions, and people have ended up getting a mud bath and becoming rallycross experts, so to speak. Well, drivers like Thomas Martins, who is looking to become the youngest ever world rally champion in history, the youngest person to do so, is going to be the likes of maybe the late Colin McRae, and also Corbett Powles, who is known within these parts at Karting Genk. He's currently looking to do his level best in rallycross, and actually last year he competed at the iconic Liddon Hill circuit in Kent. I've commentated on him many a time, and there have been champions crowned. The roll of honour of drivers that have come through the hallowed halls of Karting Genk, and also the team that is based there, GKS Lemons Power, the likes of Robin Freins from Formula E and DTM history fame, Jenson Button 2009 Formula 1 and 2018 Super GT GT500 champion. He raced in GKS colours back in the day. Max Verstappen, current Red Bull Racing Formula 1 driver, has raced. Well, he's been known at Karting Genk. Reinus VK racing with Ed Carpenter over in IndyCar. He's competed in the B&L karting series. He knows the track very, very well. The drivers come from far and wide to Karting Genk. Andre Lotterer, Dries and Laurent Vantour, Stoffel Van Dorn. The list goes on and on as well. And for those that have been that do compete in karting, and you've ever wanted to go to a fantastic European track, for me, I am a little bit biased because it is my European commentary home. But Karting Genk has so much tradition. The Lemons family, who I know very, very well indeed, they are great people. This fantastic circuit is one of those ones that is a jewel in the crown of European and international karting. It's based in the Belgian province of Limburg. It's about an hour or so's drive from the capital city of Brussels, located in a place just outside, near Hasselt, which is not too far away from it. So who's your money on for tonight? Who do you think's going to win? Is it going to be Cliff van der Ven? Is it going to be Nathan Mifsud? Could it be Sven Deichmann, Pedro Gomez? Could Silver Pirmets throw a spanner in the works for all and sundry? Well, hopefully very soon we will find out, and we will tell you the action as it happens here on World Pro Racing. So it looks like things are getting underway. The drivers now on their formation lap. 25 laps of this iconic circuit. And Cliff van der Ven starts on pole position. Nathan Mifsud will be alongside. Then it's Pedro Gomez and Sven Deichmann on row number 2. Silver Pirmats and Max Carrion. That is row number 3, with Raffaele Perini and Steve Desalis rounding out the 8 strong. Obviously, no Vishal Patel was showing we saw him in free practice. Not too sure if he had a server issue as such. But we're going to have what is not traditionally karting, a standing start. And as you can see, look, the B&L Karting Series logo and the Belgium Max Challenge logo is on there as well. So that's basically the 3-minute warning, so to speak, for... So the drivers now making sure that they are getting ready to go racing tonight. And this is where it's all going to kick off. And it normally does, because it's going to kick off at the B&L Karting Series tomorrow over the next 2 days, where there will be plenty of racing action. So one of the things is, as I spy with my little eye. And where is Cliff van der Ven? There he is. They're all forming up on the grid. So the drivers now will get a full formation lap. So they'll get some heat into these tyres. Get themselves ready. It's just about getting yourself sort of psyched up as such. And just making sure that you do your level best. So the drivers now will now come through the Europalaan, led by Cliff van der Ven. You can just see the drivers just getting themselves steeled up and ready to go. Through turn 8, nice and steady. So this is where things are now starting to ramp up. The red mist, ladies and gentlemen, will very much truly descend on the home of champions, Karting Genk in Belgium. So 1,360 metres, that is 1.36 kilometres. So Van der Ven brings the grid into formation, and when the red lights extinguish, we will be off and away for 25 laps of racing. This is going to be the very best part of 30 kilometres we'll be racing here. So the drivers ready and waiting. And when it's go time, we'll find out who has the jump on everybody else. So the red lights now start to count down. And we're off and away. Great start by Nathan Mifsud. He's gone side by side with Cliff van der Ven as they head into turn 1 for the first time. Oh, a little bit of side pod barging between the pair of them. But van der Ven up the inside past Mifsud to get the lead going into turns 2 and into 3. A little bit of a skirmish behind. Looks like Sven Deichmann has got past Pedro Gomez. 4P3 in the initial run down to turns 2 and 3. But Van der Ven starting to canter away into the distance down the Europalaan for the first time. Pyramids, I think, at a moment coming out onto the Europalaan. As Deichmann has a moment there. Nearly tangles with Gomez, and that allows Sven Pyramids to get all the way through. Deichmann down into 6th position. Max Carrion down into 8th place. Steve DeSellis now having got past the number 3 as up the road. Pedro Gomez is being left a bit hung out to dry here, courtesy of Van der Ven and Nathan Mifsud. Van der Ven completes lap number 1. Perini leading ahead, is currently in the 5th place position ahead of Sven Deichmann, and is trying to close on Sven Pirmets in the number 18 just up ahead, who has got Pedro Gomez just in front of him. Perini coming under fire from Deichmann. Oh, that's a great run out of the corner. But no, Deichmann 2 wheels on the dusty grass on the Europalaan. Can't get past Perini. So Perini having to keep ahead, but Pirmets is being chased down by Perini and Deichmann. Pirmets trying to take it nice and steady, not overdrive the kart. And that's what we found with Deichmann going through turn 7 for the first time. Asking, and as I say that, Pirmets has a massive tank slapper as Deichmann up the inside of Perini through turn 12 and gets it back up into 5th position. Cliff van der Ven sets the fastest lap, 51.280. Now has a 2-second lead ahead of Nathan Mifsud. I think Cliff van der Ven is initially showing that pace as Steve DeSellis staying ahead of Max Carrion, who seems to be having some dramas at the moment. However, Sven Deutschmann has got past Perini. Now trying to chase down Piramets. Through into turn 7. Over the bumps they go. Into the right-hander at 8. Now into 9. And Perini got a really good run coming out of that corner. Into the right at 10. Piramets bumps over the curb. So does Deutschmann. So does Perini. Through into turn 11. As Cliff van der Ven now puts in another fastest lap. 51.031. And because he's got clean air, don't be at all surprised if he's going to catch the likes of De Celis and Carrion in the latter parts of this race. Peter Metzel takes a little bit of exit curve there, going through turn 3 and into 4. Manages to straighten it back up through 5. Through into 6. Deutschmann up the inside! Oh my goodness me, this is kart racing. Oh, I've been missing this so much. But, Peter Metz goes bumping over the curbs. It's a 3-man brawl. And, Peter Metz gets turfed out to the right-hand side. Through into the entrance of turn 8. Courtesy of Sven Deutschmann, I believe. Oh, my goodness. Mamma mia. Mercy, mercy me. Wow, that was definitely all at war. And then some. And as Max Carrion is up into P6. And he's ahead of... Silver Piramets, and Steve De Celis has dropped down to the back end of the field. Meanwhile, at the front of it, Cliff van der Ven still leading, just by over 3.2 seconds ahead of Nathan Mifsud. Mifsud now coming down the Europalan, the back straightaway, which is actually the name of the road that it is adjacent, it's parallel to as well. Silver Piramets trying to get back onto level peggings with the likes of Max Carrion. Who now is battling, who's now trying to battle away with Perini in the number 12 as Perini slides his way through turn 7, now into the right-hander at 8. And Perini, takes a bit too much curb out of turn 9. 20 laps to go. Carrion's about just under 4 tenths behind Perini, but if Perini makes a mistake, Carrion will be up there like... a rat up a drain pipe, but he's got Pyramids swarming all over the back of him. Well, he did have through turn 12. So some good battling here between 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. But the top 4 have started to have the gaps elongated between themselves. 3.4 seconds between Van der Ven and Mifsud. Then it's further, it's nearly... that was a moment and a half there for Perini. Absolutely had to slap the anchors on like a gun through turn 7 to get it pointing the right way, going through into the right-hander at 8. Don't know how he's kept a hold of that, but Perini, he was playing with fire, and he nearly got his hand burnt by some matches in the process. So Perini trying to do his level best, but you're not. If you're going to make a howler like that through turn 12, you will literally pay the price for that one. And I've seen it where drivers have made a mistake. Someone's gone up the inside. Perini! Makes a massive mess of turn 2. And there goes Carrion round the outside of him. He's gone round the outside of him through turn 2 and turn 4. Carrion has definitely got the fire lit in that belly, that's for sure. Wow. And all it took was one moment for Perini. And Carrion said, "Thank you very much. That will do nicely, sir." But Perini's got to watch his back bumper, because the next big thing is that Pirmets is going to be closing in on him. Wobble there for Carrion, coming out of turn 9, into the right at 10. Avoids the curbs, good job there. Keeping it on the racing line, bit of a moment through turn 11. Now into the right-hander at turn 12. Another sideways moment for Perini. And Pirmets gives him a little bit of a bump from behind. And then sides it up the inside, does a Danny Rick, licks the stamp and send it. And Perini's and more dramas coming through the exit of turn 2. Perini's race has gone from bad to worse within the last 2 laps of this race. Cliff van der Ven doing an absolutely brilliant job at the front of the field. And the gap between him and Nathan Mifsud, I'm not at all surprised. It's now 8.1 seconds at this particular moment. So, realistically, the real battle now is between this trio. Maybe if Steve De Celis gets his finger out and starts moving forward, what will happen is that he will definitely get up close and personal. And Perini looking to do his level best. He's closing on Pitomets. Going through into turns 1 and 2. Hard on the brakes. Oh, Carrion has a moment. Oh, and he tangles with Pitomets. Pitomets had nowhere to go right there. And Perini, oh, and Carrion's had more dramas coming out of the exit of turn 2. Oh, my goodness me. First Perini, now Carrion. What's going to happen to Pitomets? You know what they say when lightning strikes twice? Well, they do say that third time's a charm. But Perini has now got to hang on. And with the way that Pitomets is closing down on him again, unforced errors can happen. And in karting, you cannot blink. Gap between them just under 3/10 as they go through turn 10 into the left at 11, now into the right-hander at 12. Don't forget you can use the hashtags, hashtag WPR and hashtag World Pro Racing on social media. Oh! Moment for Pitomets, and he goes pirouetting. That was a full 720. Oh, he touched the inside coming out of turn 12. Pitomets sent into a tailspin, well and truly. And here comes Steve DeSalis. Wow. I did say it, didn't I? Commentator's curse. Sorry, Silver Pitomets. My bad on that one. But kart racing is fast and furious. And this is where things get interesting, because now Silver Pitomets will have to keep his eye out for Steve DeSalis. But in the meantime, Cliff van der Ven approaching the halfway point of this race as soon as the laps show lap 13 out of 25. He's just... This is like a casual Sunday afternoon stroll for him at the minute, isn't it? Well, actually, it's more a Friday evening stroll, but at least it's during the daytime. So Van der Ven comes through turn 11. Into the right-hander at 12. There's Steve DeSalis. Oh, now Carrion's had a moment behind him going through the exit of turn 4. I think he just kept it planted, and he must have had that throttle well and truly buried to rescue that one. Oh, my goodness. Oh, but he's had a moment. Oh, now someone's lost a front Nassau or a bumper. Oh, that's Silver Pitomets. That is instantly a mechanical black flag in karting. And that would be a technical exclusion. So, yeah. Or, as we like to call it, the meatball flag. But yeah, Silver Pitomets, that was his bumper. So, did he have a moment? Going through turn 7. As now, Pedro Gomez has Sven Deutschmann alongside him for company. Down the inside into turn 7 goes Sven Deutschmann. Gomez tries to mount a counter-offensive through turn 7. Now into the right-hander at turn 8. Into the left at 9. Oh, Pedro Gomez is not giving up third position without a fight. I tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. Front and centre on your screens again. Pedro Gomez does the Knight Rider slyly through turn 10. But Deutschmann had him. That was a great move coming out of turn 6, but Gomez trying to get the run back through the exit of turn 11. Down the main straightaway, across the line. We're now at half race distance. Deutschmann planting the car where he needs to through turn 2, into the left at 3. Now into the right at 4. Left at 4. Now into the left at 5. Into the right at 6 to go on the Europlan. Now Gomez will have the advantage. Little bit of a twitch there from Deutschmann. Line astern of the 2, battling over P3, the final step on the rostrum. Oh, tag from Gomez on the back of Deutschmann. And Gomez makes all that happen. And he's the one that lost out big time right there. Oh, my goodness me. That has given Sven Deutschmann a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. But Gomez will be very much on his case if he gets a sniff of the opportunity. And that's what's happening right now. But it just depends. If Deutschmann makes a mistake, Gomez will be there. Or there or thereabouts to get up the inside and go through into P3. So, with now lap 14 of 25 underway here at Karting Genk, the home of champions. Cliff van der Ven now has a 17.8 second lead over Nathan Mifsud. These two qualified on the front row of the grid. Deutschmann qualified P4 behind Gomez. But Deutschmann now on the podium step. There's Nathan Mifsud. I'm sure he's enjoying himself behind the wheel. Yep. And that engine, ladies and gentlemen, is the sign of a happy kart. Through the rev range, hard on the brakes. Through into turn 4. Now into the left at 5. Onto the Europalan he goes. As Gomez and Deutschmann has ignited again. They nearly went side by side through turns 3 and 4. Gomez hits a wallop of curb coming out onto the Europalan through turn 6. He looks to the right. Can't go up the inside of Deutschmann. I think he's got to give it another lap or two before he can seize the opportunity. 10 laps to go. As Gomez up the inside like a cheeky little scamp on Deutschmann through turn 9. I'm sure that that meant that Sven Deutschmann had a bit of a heart attack alert right there and then. But this is the main battle we've got here. So all eight drivers still circulating at the moment. I think Carrion's now a lap down. Well, DeCellis will be as well at the rate that Cliff had been. Oh, Steve DeCellis has gone spinning around. Not like Kylie Minogue, I might add, as is Max Carrion. Sympathy spinning here at Karting Genk for these two, and they are a lap down. So Gomez now has about a second gap between himself, or there or thereabouts, going through into turn 7, heading off the Europalan into the right-hander at 8. So, yeah, this is going to be rather interesting. This is the real battle. I mean, forget the fact that Colin van der Ven has decided to run away like a prize racehorse into the distance. No one else can do anything edgeways about it. Nathan Mifsud thought, well, I'll give it a go. Qualified P2, stays P2 at the moment. He's now going through the left-hander at 3. Pedro Gomez and Sven Deutschmann still battling away. And they are not that far behind Nathan Mifsud, so Gomez looks to be putting down the hammer a little bit here. Gap between him and Nathan Mifsud is about 7.5 seconds through the Europalan, as Mifsud will probably be exiting round about turn 8 or 9 by my approximate estimation. Oh, moment for Gomez, complete Knight Rider style, 2 wheels up in the air, ski mode galore, and whacks the barriers through the exit of turn 7. He was very lucky his bumper did not get dislodged there. And yeah, Pirmets has retired after that front bumper being literally ripped away well and truly from the front of that kart. And then that's effectively a mechanical black flag. But Nathan Mifsud is pulling away mainly because of the fact that if Pedro Gomez had not made that faux pas at turn 7, he would have had the opportunity to go after this man on your screens right here, Nathan Mifsud. Maltese driver. Normally, we don't see him on track that often, but when he gets a chance to step away from broadcast duties here on World Pro Racing, he's as keen a sim racer as they come. And he's 22 seconds behind Cliff van der Ven. So at the moment, got 7 laps to go. Cliff van der Ven leads by 22 seconds ahead of Nathan Mifsud. Here's Sven Deutschmann, a further 10 seconds adrift in P3. Then we got Pedro Gomez in the 0-5. He was about 2.5 seconds behind him. So Rafael Perini in 12th place. Sorry, in the number 12 kart. My apologies there, Rafael. In 5th place at the moment, Max Carrion, Steve DeSalis, and we have a DNF from Silva Pirmets from Estonia in the number 18. So there's Sven Deutschmann. And Pedro Gomez is actually pushing like crazy. He wants to catch up. He wants that P3. But he hasn't got many laps to do it. And through turn 9. Oh, too much curb there. Very curb hungry there was Pedro. And he suffered as a direct result. That compromised the exit out of T9 there. So I think he's going to have to settle for P4 at the end of it all. Okay, he didn't get to the top time in free practice, but fired the warning shot across the bow or the front Nassau of every single kart here. And he has been literally like a freight train. No one has stopped this driver, as Cliff van der Ven has 5 laps to go. 5 laps remaining. Which will very soon be 4.5 laps when he gets halfway down the Europolaan here. So these drivers will hit over 110 kilometers an hour before heading onto the braking zones. And what I'd like to do, again, when we do get to the start-finish line, is to go on board with Cliff van der Ven just to see how effortless he is manhandling that number 2 kart. So he's going to go through the right-hander at turn 10. Doesn't take any curbing. Takes a little bit on the exit through the left-hand curbing on the exit of turn 10. So now we go on board with Cliff van der Ven. Now across the start-finish line, heading into turn 1 and then into the hefty braking zone. Down into turn 2, nice and tight on the apex, not using any runoff, staying off of the curbs through turn 3. Now into 4. Now into the left at 5. Oh, bit of overcorrection there. Goes a little bit sideways through the Europolaan, or the entrance into the Europolaan on turn 6. Hard on the brakes now through into turn 7. There's a little bit of curve on the left. Take it nice and tight. Let the car drift out wide through the exit of turn 8. Now into the left-hander at 9. Not really any curve taken there. Close to the white line on the inside. Turn 10. Now into 11. Accelerating through into turn 12. A little bit of jab on the brakes. Let the car drift out to the left. Then bury the throttle and across the line. So van der Ven has been... He's starting to put on a drifting show, isn't he? Good man. Because he's got a 25-second lead over Nathan Mifsud anyway, so he could just casually cruise on home. But any racer, especially in karting, and that's what I found out over the last 3 years since I started commentating at this very circuit. The date I know off by heart, 21st of April 2018. And as they say, you make a good first impression, and then the rest is history. So, in many respects, Cliff van der Ven, very soon we'll have the white flag. He'll have one more lap to go, or as we would have it in karting, the last lap board. So, next time around it will be the final lap, and it has been domination personified by Cliff van der Ven. I think he's closing on, that is Rafael Perini just up ahead. Van der Ven just drifts it through turn 6, down the Europolaan for the penultimate time of asking. And Pedro Gomez trying to close, but I think it's going to be too little too late in trying to close up to Sven Deutschmann in the 56. As now Cliff van der Ven just like deciding to go up the inside of Perini, who decides, oh, who is that steamrolling up the inside of me? So just over 1,360 metres separates Cliff van der Ven from victory here on World Pro Racing at Karting Genk. Final lap it is. Just it through into turn 2. Nicely done, sir. Into 3. Now into the left at 4. And then the left-hander at turn 5. Into the right at 6. Then onto the famed Europolaan. Into turn 7. Very, very good job here. Turn 9. 3 more corners to negotiate. Out of the curb. Look, takes some wallop of curb. Coming out of turn 9 for the final time. Through turn 10. Now into 11. And Cliff van der Ven in the number 2. Out of turn 12. And this time he takes the checkered flag and dominates proceedings here at World Pro Racing. Nathan Mifsud brings it home in P2, 25 or so seconds behind. So he has done a real good job there. Sven Deutschmann now coming around to complete and his race and take the final step on the rostrum. Pedro Gomez, close but no cigar, takes 4th. Rafael Perini takes P5. With Carrion, he'll take 6th. Steve DeSalis in 7th position. With Silver Pyramids being the only driver to retire from this race. But as it was all said and done, Cliff van der Veen is your winner for the first ever karting casual race on the R Factor 2 platform here on World Pro Racing. And a big thank you to the virtual recreation of the Home of Champions, Karting Genk in Belgium, for hosting. So, 25 racing laps. Yeah, just really, really good to see some karting out there. Looks like we got someone already jumping into the interview booth, so without further ado, Sven Deutschmann, firstly, congratulations on your 3rd place, but a very, very tricky battle between yourself and Pedro Gomez for the final step on the podium.
Yeah, that was a hot challenge, but yeah, he made the final mistake and I could pull away a little bit, so maintain the gap and finish like that.
And obviously, Karting Genk, I know it as a commentator very well. I've commentated there for many a time. It is a circuit that is really, really difficult to master, isn't it?
Yeah. I am lucky. I live only 30 minutes from it. So I was there many times, but never driven there. Only motocross near the circuit next to it.
Yeah, I know the area very well, Sven. So congratulations on P3 tonight. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we normally have him on broadcast cameras. Nathan Mifsud takes 2nd position. Well done, buddy. Good job tonight.
Thank you.
Now, I think you and I both know that Cliff van der Veen, he ran away with it, didn't he? But, you got close in qualifying.
Yeah, in qualifying, the setup wasn't really all that good. I was struggling a lot in the corners, trying to get the car pretty much going out of the corners. But I was quite happy that I actually got 2nd. I had like 1 hour max practice, so I'm quite happy with the result actually.
Yeah, well done tonight, Nathan. Is there anyone you want to thank tonight?
Yep, I would like to thank GT Omega Racing for the rig, Gaming Malta, HyperX. HyperX provides the hardware pretty much, and of course World Pro Racing for hosting these events.
Thank you very much, Nathan Mifsud, our 2nd place finisher tonight. Well done tonight, mate.
Thank you, man.
So, that really, I think, is about it. So on behalf of us here at World Pro Racing, a big thank you once again to our partners, Gaming Malta, Melita, who have been powering this stream, Thrustmaster, GT Omega Racing, HyperX, where we're all gamers, and AMD. A big thank you to you all watching on TVM Sports in Malta, motorsport.tv, and eSports Television. If you are watching on the relevant World Pro Racing channels, so Twitch, Facebook Live, and YouTube, if you haven't given this video a like or a thumbs up, please do so. And if you're watching on the YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell. So that's it from us. Join us next Tuesday, the 23rd of March, for the Nightmaster 2 at Suzuka. And good night from me, Alex Goldschmidt. See you very soon.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You are risking not only your life, but also my life.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.